looks terrible, and Aaron doesn't look that bad. And I guess what had happened recently was he took a shot in sparring to the stomach, and I saw the shot. I watched the video. I have video. You'll see the video right now. And it's a gut shot. It happens in boxing. Wasn't the hardest shot in the world, but it's still a shot that would drop a man. I guess he took a knee, got back up, was a little bit sore, Josh, and then you were worried about his ribs? No, he said they were fine?
Yeah, I wasn't worried, honestly, because I saw it and I'm like, that's just going to be, I just saw it as like, he's going to need a couple more days off than a normal person would. You know what I mean?
Because he's new to the game and that was a good body shot.
Yeah, it was a good body shot, which is something he needed to experience, because imagine if he experiences that the day of the fight and doesn't know how to react to it. You know what I mean?
You're trying to get him ready for a real fight.
Yeah.
So you've had trouble. I know that you've had trouble. That's why when I booked him for the show, I wanted you to bring him here because I had heard that he doesn't show up on time. This is not a big deal to me. This is a rock star mentality, and I'm used to that.
Yeah.
But for a fight, it is, if you're showing up with sparring partners, you do need to show up at the exact time that all the sparring partners are, because we are using each other's brains. Mm-hmm. We're giving each other potential brain damage here, so it's definitely needs to be a lot more respect. Let's say he doesn't know that much about that yet, and he failed that. But in the end, I guess he came with you with too many excuses, and you were like, if you're not going to train, I'm not going to continue to train because I'm here to actually help you win, not just...
Yeah, it wasn't even like, I just sent him, it was just so many excuses, you know what I mean? But I'm like, I get it. He's getting into the sport slowly. He hasn't worked out in years. So, you know, he has to kind of slowly get into it. So I've had patience throughout this process, but now it's like a month out. And I told him, like, he told me, he's like, yo, tell me when we should pick it up. And I'm like, yesterday, we should have been picked it up. You know what I mean? So he was always like, he understood when I was with him, but then the minute he goes home, it was just like every day before every session, there was an excuse every single day, an elaborate excuse every time.
So you were trying to be respectful, and then in the end, it was very apparent that he was an excuse machine. I myself personally felt like he was using some stuff that wasn't just weed, because I'm on weed all the time too, and I was like, you're on something else. But that's just my opinion. Yeah. But in the end, a lot of stories, a lot of excuses. That's not going to help anybody win a fight. And you know, obviously, I trust you 100% on knowing your boxing ability. So him questioning your abilities is a bit of an insult. And that's half the reason I'm doing this, is because you're a good friend of mine who works hard on his craft. If you want to get really good, this guy will help you. But it won't be bullshit, because you don't get to win for free. You have to put in the work. So, and I didn't think you're definitely not a mean coach or any of that. Yeah. Very easy to deal with.
Yeah.
So for him to decide to not come in, I saw the text message. He wanted an out, and you gave him one.
Yeah.
And then I go on there because I was going to go tell him, hey man, you need to get back in the gym and you need to talk to Josh and apologize, because that's not how it works.
Yeah.
And in the live feed, he said that he had broken 3 ribs.
And then you told me, that's how I found out. I didn't know until you told me.
Right. So now I'm like, wait a minute, you broke 3 ribs? No, you didn't. Are you telling everybody that you organized somebody to punch you and break your ribs? Yeah. Now I'm doing it on the Jason Ellis show. So Josh Pilot here is the coach and is done everything the right way. And this guy has separated from Josh in a negative way, which is kind of the way he does things from what I can tell. Because I don't think he's entirely in charge of his life. I think his fiance is pulling him around a little bit, but that's none of my business. My business is with Josh and his, you have a gym, you have your fight gym, you're starting it all, and this dude's a big celebrity, and he's like, oh, the guy's breaking my rib. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Before I was going to let you go, but now, you know what I mean? I came on here, you told me a bunch of shit, you know what I mean? And I didn't argue with any of the stuff that he said was factual. I said, okay, cool. If that's what you think happened, that's fair. I believe you. And now to do this, now I'm like, well, okay, before this podcast ends, I want people to know that after he left, he spat some shit about my boy right here and said that he broke ribs. I watched the video. You're going to see the video. You're going to see the shot. You're going to see him get back up. When you get back up, I have had many broken ribs. You don't fucking just get back up and walk off. You don't show somebody the next day that it's not that bad by doing that to them.
Yeah.
You can't fake punch your broken ribs.
Yeah.
And now he's on Instagram pulling his fucking pants up, jumping around. Anybody broke their ribs, jump around, pull up and jump around and see how that
And
works.
a broken wrist, apparently.
Wait, from boxing?
Yeah, apparently it was a broken wrist.
From what?
No, that's what I heard on the live. He said that he broke his wrist too. He broke his wrist and a couple ribs. So people were DMing me like, "Hey, what happened with Aaron's ribs? Is he okay? Is he okay?" I'm like, "What ribs? What ribs?" And then when you told me that that's what he said on the live, and I was like, "Is he telling people?" Because he blocked me immediately after, which is weird because I told you that's just not how he is. He genuinely was a nice guy.
Yeah, I thought he was nice.
He just has no direction, and I feel like some people are pulling the strings.
Yeah.
And he's not really in control because this is not like him. That text, I texted him that when he gave me that excuse about that long story short, he gave me an excuse that he was throwing up for 18 hours and he couldn't train on that Friday. Your podcast was on a Wednesday. Literally saw him on the way home. I go, let me see. Lifts up his shirt, nothing. Starts going this. I'm fine because I'm like, you can take till Monday off, whatever, let it heal. And he's like, no, I'm good to go. Look, and I go, oh, you don't even have a bruise or a bump. And I go, it's not.
Okay, so here's the exclusive. He leaves. He doesn't have a new trainer. He does have to fight Lamar Odom in the next 3 weeks, correct?
Yeah.
And he's not training because his ribs are broken. So here's the exclusive. Aaron Carter is not going to fight. He's not going to show up. And his ribs aren't broken from any... His ribs aren't broken. And I'm not saying my opinion. I'm saying it's not factual. His wrist sure as hell is not broken. This is just a long list of bullshit, which is fine. You've been through a lot. You know, anybody who gets addicted to sniffing dust cleaner or some shit, I don't know.
That's what he was doing back in the day.
Fucking, oh my God, your life is so sad. So I'm not trying to bash him. I'm more just saying, hey.
Yeah, just covering my ass
Josh,
here. You know
Josh is not an evil man and did not organize any bad things for Aaron. I've had personal conversations off air away from Aaron where we both were like, man, we could get him to fucking do this. Win, and that's why he wouldn't agree to you showing up, once a week, 2 hours late and whatnot. So these are the facts from us. And if you look at our track record, we're not on social media spinning absolute bullshit 24/7. Unlike this man who is documented to spin shit 24/7.